Welcome back once again to my YouTube channel. And today I want to talk to you just a little bit about avoiding distractions. We try to stay focused as much as we can. We have goals, we have aspirations, we have dreams, we have things that we're trying to accomplish in our daily lives, in our lives for God, in our walk with God. But there are always distractions, little nuances, things that nag at us, things that nip at us to try to keep us from the big picture, to keep us from doing what we know that we should be doing for God. I want to base this today on Nehemiah chapter 6 and verse 2. We're just going to read a couple of scriptures from this, and then we're going to take this thought and run with it. Hopefully we won't be for you too long. The word of the Lord is recorded as saying, "Then Sanballat, the Geshem, sent unto me, saying, Come, let us meet in some one of the villages in the plain of Ono, but they thought to do me mischief. And I sent messages unto them, saying, I am doing a great work, so that I cannot come down. Why should the work cease while I leave and come down to you?" And we all try to stay focused. But in the world that we live in today, we know that we are surrounded by distractions. We are surrounded by people that can distract us, things that can distract us. We can be distracted easily. We can say that we're focused and that we want to stay focused, but then distractions are easily and readily available, especially with the advent of the internet at your fingertips. There's a distraction. At your very fingertip, there's a Facebook waiting for you. There's a YouTube waiting for you. There's a TikTok waiting for you. There's an Instagram waiting for you to distract you. And you can have good intentions. You can go on and just say, I'm going to check my Facebook today to see what's going on. And 1.5 hours later, you're still on there, looking at your high school friends, family that you went to school with, and wondering how they're doing and how they're getting along. You didn't have those intentions of going on there and staying on there for a whole hour. But those were little distractions, especially when we are trying to be focused on the work of God, focusing on what we're trying to accomplish in our lives. And coming up as a youngster, we didn't have the distractions that we have today. We didn't have readily at our fingertips computers and smartphones and iPads and all of these devices. We didn't have those things. So quite naturally, we spent a lot of our time out on the parks and playing and doing different things of that nature that kept us preoccupied or consumed with those things. But I want to bring this back over here in the spiritual context, because as those who are trying to accomplish certain things for God, we want to make sure that we avoid distractions, because the enemy never wants us to do anything positive or constructive for God. He'll do everything that he can to keep you distracted and to throw you off course. Anything that's valuable to you, anything that's good for you, the enemy does not want you to build yourself in that area. The moment that you're saying that I'm going to steal away, I'm going to spend some time with God, some quiet time with God, I want to have fellowship with him, I want to have communion with him, and this is what I'm going to do, something happens. Somebody shows up with an offer that you can't refuse. That's a distraction. And you have to be leery of those distractions. And if you have said and committed to God to doing something, you have to stick to your guns. You have to make sure that you don't allow those small nuances to keep you from doing the will of God. from staying, if you are going to devote an evening to God, don't let nothing distract you or keep you from spending that time with God. Jesus was focused. He was so focused on the will of God that his parents didn't even know he was gone. And he stayed behind and he was talking to the lawyers and the doctors, and he was teaching them and hearing them and talking to them, asking questions and all of that. And so finally they realized that he was gone. And they went back to him and they said, son, why have you dealt thus with us? And his reply, he said, know ye not that I must be about my Father's business? Focused, knowing what the objective is, knowing what the work is, knowing what you're supposed to be doing keeps you from being distracted. When you know that the passion is greater than the side distractions that come to knock you off of your focus. So when we look at Jesus, we have an example of one that was focused. He did not allow even tragedy to distract him from the agenda, from the work. And the work is important. And this is what we find Nehemiah. Nehemiah's heart was heavy. His heart was burdened because he saw the house of God in ruins, in shambles. It was all run over. It was all trodden down. And his heart led him to ask the king that if he could go and that he could rebuild the wall, that he could do the work, that he could get some things accomplished so that the house of God could be returned and restored to its former glory. That's what he wanted. And so he had a focus. He had his attention was honed in on doing this job and getting this job completed. And I want you to know something. The moment that you make up in your mind to do something for God, to do something constructive, to build something, to produce something, to create something, distractions will always show up. And there's Nehemiah and the others, they were building on the wall, they were rebuilding it, and they was getting things in order. Here comes the haters. Here comes the naysayers. Here comes the distractors. Here come the detractors. Here come those people that were hating on what they were trying to accomplish. And to my young people, I want you to know something. Anytime that you are trying to do something positive in your life, to better your life, to try to do something that's going to take your life from here to here, you're going to always have some people that are going to try to distract you. They're going to be jealous of you because you're trying to do better. Whatever happened to you applauding me, you patting me on the back, you are happy for me that I'm trying to do better. But sometimes it's just not the nature of man to be happy for you, to be happy for your success. It's just not in our nature to be like that towards others. So the moment that you're deciding that you're getting up out of this hood, out of this situation, I want to better myself. I want to see what the world has to offer to me. And I want everything that God promised that I could have. There's going to be somebody that says, come off the wall. Come on, let's have a meeting. To the young people, there's going to be somebody, the one person, the young person that's doing good. There's going to be that one distraction that's going to come against you and try to get you to come on, smoke this weed with us. Come on and drink this liquor with us. Come on and go to this party with us. There's always going to be those distractions. But in those moments, you've got to have the Nehemiah mentality. And you got to be on the wall. And your wall may be you going to college, you going to trade school, You going to a junior college or community college, that could be your wall. And so you can't let drugs, you can't let the streets, you can't let girls be your distraction. You've got to stay on the wall. And so they were trying to get Nehemiah to come off the wall. But he had a presence of a mind enough to say, what I'm doing for God is more important for me to stop doing this and come down to meet with you. And see, the devil always has ulterior motives. It wasn't about meeting with Nehemiah. It was about doing him harm. And you better be careful the company that you keep. You better be careful that the people that you associate with, the people that you think got your back, are the very people that will kick up their heels against you and stab you in your back. So you got to keep your eyes open. So Nehemiah said, this is a distraction. This is something's not right. Something don't smell good. Have you ever been in a situation where you just got an eerie feeling? Something wasn't right. Something was just not right. And that's the sixth sense just popped up and you just like, no, this just don't feel right. And you got to listen to that feeling. You got to avoid those distractions. And I know that may be a little extreme because it may not be anybody out here that's trying to kill you or hurt you or do you harm, but there could just be those little nuances. Don't you know, young people, young men, especially my young boys, that if you're trying to go and get an education, don't you know how much of a distraction having a child at the age of 16, 17, or 18 years old, how much of a distraction that could be for you? How much that could change the trajectory of your life? Don't you know what that could do to your future? And see, so you have to be careful and don't make those decisions now for a temporary pleasure that will affect the next 15, 20 years of your life. Because if you make the wrong choice now, you will see it. You'll see it later. I guarantee you, you're going to see it later. I guarantee you it's going to show up again. Something's going to show up to let you know that the decision I made, it detoured my life and it threw me off track. So we need to stay focused. Jesus, and I love this script, one of my favorite scriptures, John 9:4. Jesus said, I must work the work of him that has sent me while it is day, for the night comes when no man can work. While it is day, while you have blood running warm in your veins, while the sun still reflects in your eyes, and you got breath in your body, it's daytime, and it's time for you to get focused. Everything in its season. Time for girlfriends and wives. It's coming, but it's not there. It's not 16, it's not 15. That's not the season that you're in. Time to have a child, 15 and 16, it's not the season. That's a distraction. You've got to avoid distractions. Running with gangs, that's not the move. That's a distraction. So you've got to be cognizant enough, wise enough to withdraw yourself away from the distraction. Because as we get older in life, we can look back and we can see that people that we were cool with in high school, now that I'm 52 years old, I don't even communicate or talk to people that I went to high school with, because everybody has gone their own separate ways. They're living their lives. They have their families. They're doing what they're doing, and there's no communication. But you couldn't tell me as a high school student that this wasn't the end all be all. This is what it was. You couldn't tell me that at that particular place and time in my life. But now as I look back in retrospect and I think about it, I'm like, wow, you know what I'm saying? Everything that I thought was of the utmost importance to me then is not as important to me now. There were some girlfriends that I had early on that I'm grateful that I did not marry them, because they didn't fit. They didn't fit me. And everybody doesn't fit you, because there were some people that's 18 and 19 that you were head over heels in love with, that at 52 years old, they probably still acting like they're 18 and 19 because they didn't fit. But God says, I know the plans that I have for you, the plans of good and not of evil, to give you an expected end. That's what God sees. He sees more than we can see. He knows more than we know. So sometimes we fight, we resist God, we draw back, and we don't want this. But God knows all. God sees all. So stop trying to hold on to people. Stop trying to bring people along with you, because some people are distractions. Not saying that you can't pray for them, or that you can't love them, or that you can't befriend them. But some people, the truth of the matter is, some people are not going where you're going. Not all of us are going on the same level. And that's just the fact. That's just the facts of life. It's a hard reality, but the truth is the truth. And the moment and the sooner that you can accept that, the better off that you will be. In closing, Nehemiah had a presence of enough mind to know that these guys were up to no good. And you've got to have a presence of mind enough to know that certain people that come into your life are up to no good. They'll smile in your face all the time. They're trying to take your place. Backstabbers, that's a song. But that's the truth. Jesus said, have not I chosen you 12, and one of you is a devil? How in the world are you going to see Jesus heal the sick, raise the dead, open the blinded eyes, cause the deaf to hear, preach to the people and feed 5,000 and 4,000 and do all of these miracles, and yet you're going to sell him out for 30 pieces of silver? You're going to sell Jesus out for 30 pieces of silver? So if they sold Jesus out, don't you think for 1 minute that there's not somebody out here that will sell you out, that will take you and send you up the river without a paddle? You'll be up that creek so far that you'll never be able to come back. So avoid the distractions. Young people, if you're trying to go to college and get your degree, if you're trying to excel in a sport, and you need to be focused on being in the gym and working and being dedicated to that, stay focused on that. Watch out for the distractions. Keep God first in your life. Honor him. Represent him. Be an ambassador for Christ. Do those things that you know will bring glory unto him. And watch out for the distractions. And with that, I'm going to end this video. I hope something was said that will help you to think, to help you to watch as well as pray, that you enter not into temptation. that you watch out for the naysayers, the haters, and all of the people that want to see you fall, and yoke up with like-minded people, the people that's going where you're going, the people that want to see you succeed and have a genuine love and compassion for you and your success. May God bless you, and may heaven richly smile upon you in Jesus' name.